Sometimes, even though it is quite rare, some people end up receiving a large amount of money all at once. This usually happens because of an inheritance or a stroke of luck, like winning the lottery. The problem is that almost no one is truly prepared to deal with this money, and that is why many people lose everything almost at the same pace at which it was received. The numbers show this clearly. About one-third of lottery winners return to zero within just a few years. And it is not because of a lack of character or irresponsibility. The truth is very simple. These people never had enough money to learn how to manage it, never built wealth, never developed solid financial habits. And when they suddenly gain access to a huge amount, the natural reaction is to spend without thinking much about the consequences. That is exactly why having a plan makes such a difference. It is the plan that determines whether this unexpected money will turn into something that strengthens you or will simply evaporate. So let's get straight to the point. Here are 14 things you should do if one day you suddenly become rich. First thing, don't tell anyone. This is the first thing you need to do. As soon as you realize that you have become rich, the best attitude is to remain silent. Do not tell friends, family, or anyone close to you. It is normal to want to share good news, but that is exactly where the problems begin. When people find out, requests for help appear, opinions you did not ask for, and even people changing their behavior out of pure self-interest. That is how many people lose control of the situation right at the beginning. In this initial moment, privacy is your protection. It gives you space to think, understand what is happening, and decide your next steps without anyone's pressure. You will only tell others when it makes sense, calmly and with planning, not on impulse. Second thing, pay off all your debts. This is the first expense you should make, and in the beginning, it is the only thing that truly matters. Debts take away your peace, limit your freedom, and always keep you a few steps behind. As soon as the money hits your account, settle everything that is pending: credit cards, loans, payment booklets, installment plans, anything that is holding you back. Resolve this immediately. It takes a huge weight off your shoulders and opens space for what comes next. And when you finish, stop there. Having money available gives the feeling that new debts are easy to pay. But this is the trap that makes many people fall back into the same old cycle. That is why you should pay what exists and do not create new debts. Third thing, do not quit your job yet. Quitting right after receiving a large amount of money is one of the most common mistakes and is almost always the first step toward losing everything. It feels liberating, it feels logical, but it is nothing more than impulse. The truth is simple. No one functions well without a routine. Even those who hate their own job need some kind of structure in their daily life. When you suddenly abandon that, you create space for boredom, for recklessness, and especially for spending money without thinking. Too much free time quickly becomes an enemy. Another important point is that money changes your relationship with work. When you know you no longer depend on your job to survive, everything feels less heavy. You start handling situations more calmly because now you can leave if you want to. And just having that possibility already changes the way you see your day-to-day life. But do not do it now. This is not the moment to quit. Do not make decisions in the heat of emotion. Keep your routine. Continue living normally and let the dust settle. Quitting is not the first step. It is something that only makes sense after your life, your money, and your mind are in order. Fourth thing, protect the money and leave it untouched for a while. After the money hits your account and you have taken care of everything that was urgent, the next step is to not touch anything. The money may be there, but the one who needs time is you. Your entire life changes when a large amount appears suddenly, but your mind does not follow that change at the same speed. You remain the same person with the same old desires, the same wishes you have carried for years, and the same list of things you wanted to buy when you had money. And that is exactly what puts you at risk. That is why one rule is clear. Do not touch this money for the next 6 months. It sounds like a long time, but it is not. These 6 months exist to prevent you from ruining everything right at the beginning. During this period, you will imagine different plans and scenarios. You will change your mind all the time. What seems essential today will seem irrelevant in 2 months, and that is normal. It is your brain adjusting to the new reality. That is why acting quickly is the worst possible choice. Impulse and large amounts of money do not mix. Control your anxiety, leave the money alone, and give yourself time to become someone capable of dealing with it. Fifth thing, prioritize investing in yourself. Before thinking about spending money on anything else, you need to learn. If you want to keep this money, you need to understand how to deal with it. Simple as that. Now comes the hard truth. You did not get rich before because you did not know how to make money grow. And that does not change just because now you have a larger amount. If you keep the same level of knowledge you had before, the result will be the same. The money will be gone. That is why the first investment is not in stocks, real estate funds, or businesses. It is in you. You need to become someone who understands the basics of finance, who knows what they are doing before moving a single cent. Without this minimum, you make terrible decisions, or even worse, you leave room for other people to manipulate you. And this is where many people lose everything. There is a famous saying around the world, fortune and fools do not stay together for long, and you do not want to be the fool in that story. The good news is that now you have time. You do not need to rush. You can use this period to build a foundation you never had. Read, study, learn how money works, how to invest, and how to protect your wealth safely. Most people who receive a large sum are not experienced investors, and they do not need to be. No one is telling you to become a specialist overnight. But starting with the basics is not optional. It is mandatory if you want to keep this money in the long run. Sixth thing, get comfortable, but not rich comfortable. Paying off your home makes sense. Removing that worry from your life is smart, but that does not mean moving to a wealthy neighborhood. And this is one of the most repeated mistakes made by athletes, celebrities, or anyone who receives a lot of money quickly. They think they need to live like millionaires immediately, so they buy a huge house, full of details and full of hidden costs. The problem is not just the price of the house, it is everything that comes after. High taxes, constant maintenance, absurd fees, private security, condominium fees that feel like a second rent. All of this becomes a permanent hole draining your money month after month, and it does not stop there. Another classic mistake is buying a car for every person in the family, as if that were a way to compensate for the past or show that you have made it. But a car is not a symbol of victory, it is an expense. Cars are liabilities. They lose value every day, even when sitting in the garage. The goal now is to organize your life, not to rebuild it as if you were trying to play the role of a rich person. You do not need to change everything. You just need to improve what already exists, calmly and consciously. Seventh thing, do not invest in your friend's business and do not lend money to them. At some point, the secret will not last. People will find out that you have money. And when that happens, be prepared, because many will think that this money is not really yours, since you did not work directly for it. In their minds, asking for a share seems fair. That is where the problem begins. Requests for money will come from all sides, and they will not be small requests. Innovative business ideas will appear, revolutionary startups, projects that just need a push, personal emergencies, overdue bills, an endless list of situations that your money could solve. But the point is simple. This money is not meant to fix other people's lives. It is your safety net, and every time you make a hole in it, you put yourself at risk. That is why money can turn into a curse. If you lend it, it is almost certain you will not see that money again. And along with it, the relationship also disappears. People do not pay back. They make excuses, they vanish, and you end up looking like the bad person for asking to be repaid. If you say no, some people will feel resentful. Yes, that can happen, but here's the difference. In that scenario, you still protect what matters. You still have stability, you still have a future, you still have money to put your children through college. You can still take care of your life. You are not obligated to carry the consequences of choices that are not yours, and it is not your responsibility to save anyone. Eighth thing, do not start a business immediately. Almost everyone has imagined what it would be like to be the boss, to have their own company, make their own decisions, and control their own time. It is easy to look at other people's businesses and think, if it were me, I would do it better. But reality does not care about your fantasy. 7 out of 10 businesses fail within 10 years. This is the statistic most ignored by those who get excited about new money. And there is something else. You already used your share of luck when you received that amount. That does not automatically turn you into an entrepreneur, nor is it something that makes a business succeed. What makes a business work is experience, strategy, execution, discipline, and a huge list of difficult decisions you have never had to make. That is why you should not start big, should not open a company on impulse, and should not try to change your life quickly. Excitement is the enemy of clear thinking. If in the future you want to have a business, that is fine, but start small, test, study, and observe. The illusion of success appears strong when you are excited, but in the same way that feeling passes, the money lost on impulse does not come back. A business is not an escape. A business is a responsibility and does not go well with haste. Ninth thing, prepare yourself for change. When you have little, no one pays much attention to you. When you have a lot, the game changes. The more money you have, the bigger the target on your back. It is hard to admit, but it is true. Now there are things people can take from you. Lawsuits that never existed before start to appear. Scams you never imagined begin to be directed specifically at you. Emotional pressure increases, and manipulation does too. Having money requires care and demands energy. You can no longer act on autopilot. You cannot trust so quickly. You cannot open your life to just anyone. People who never cared about you may try to get close as if they were intimate, and people you thought were close may reveal interests you never notice. This is where many people fall apart. They think wealth will simplify everything, but it does not. Some problems disappear, it is true, needs, emergencies, lack of options, but others arise in their place and are usually more complex. Having money is not just an advantage, it is a responsibility. And if you are not prepared, you will feel the impact. The change has already begun, and now you need to learn how to deal with it. 10th sign, focus on becoming healthier. Now you have money, and if you truly want to enjoy it, you need to make sure you will live long enough to enjoy what you have gained. There is no point in changing your financial life while continuing to ignore your health. You cannot afford to be a victim of your own reckless choices. The minimum you should do is schedule a full medical checkup and understand exactly how your body's doing. From that point on, taking care of yourself stops being optional and becomes a commitment. Pay attention to what you eat, how much you move, and how well you sleep. The health you have today will determine how long your money will be useful tomorrow. And now you have a real advantage. You can pay for high-quality professional guidance. You can have a personalized nutrition plan, customized training routines, real follow-up, medical appointments without waiting months in line, psychological support, performance monitoring, everything tailored to you. This is not vanity, it is prevention, it is intelligence. It is ensuring that the wealth you received will not be spent trying to recover something that could have been taken care of earlier. Yes, this is a privilege you should use to the fullest. 11th thing, the 5% rule. Before anything else, you need to understand one simple fact. The money you received is not infinite. It only lasts if it is used strategically. And this is where the 5% rule comes in. The logic works like this. You take everything you received and invest that money in something that generates returns. It can be fixed income, stocks, funds, rental properties, whatever makes sense for you. After that, you follow one clear rule. Every year, you can only use up to 5% of the total value of your wealth. For example, if you have $2 million invested, 5% of that is $100,000 per year. That is the limit. You live off that return and do not touch the rest. Why 5%? Because historically, 5% is considered a safe margin. Most investments are able to generate 10% or more in the long term. So if you spend only 5% per year, your wealth tends to grow, even while you are using part of it. Think of your wealth like a tree. The tree is the principal, the invested money. The fruits are the annual returns, what the money produces. If you eat only the fruits, the tree stays alive and keeps producing more every year. But if you start cutting pieces of the trunk, that is, spending the principal, the tree weakens and eventually no longer exists. That is exactly what happens to most people who receive a large sum of money. They start cutting the trunk, and when they realize it, everything is gone. The 5% rule exists precisely to prevent this path. It forces you to live off the returns, not the principal. That is how you turn an unexpected amount of money into something that can support you for decades, instead of a short phase that disappears without leaving anything behind. 12th thing, protect your children from money. When you receive a large amount, it's not only your life that changes, your children's lives change as well. And most of the time, they are not prepared to deal with that. Having access to too much money too early can distort values, create unrealistic expectations, and lead to poor growth decisions. It becomes easy to turn simple responsibilities into problems when there are no limits. That's why you need to protect your children from the direct impact of this money. One effective way to do this is by using a family holding, a trust fund, or even a well-structured succession plan where you define exactly how the money will be distributed over time. It works like this. Your children receive controlled amounts, such as an allowance, a monthly payment, or installments spread throughout their lives. But they do not have free access to the main wealth. This ensures they use the money responsibly and that the estate remains protected for many years. This is how wealthy families stay wealthy. This is how true generational wealth is built, by controlling the assets so they last longer than a single lifetime, instead of handing everything over to someone who is not yet mature enough to handle it. 13th thing, do not betray your partner. This should be obvious with or without money. But when you have money, temptations increase. Many people start looking at you differently, driven by interest, convenience, or opportunity. And here is the part many ignore. A mistake like this is expensive, very expensive. We're talking about losing half of your wealth, entering long legal battles, paying alimony, dealing with family conflicts, emotional exhaustion. and a chain of consequences that can destroy everything you have just built. Your money should strengthen your family, provide security, stability, and peace, not become the reason for its collapse. Unfortunately, many people lack the maturity to see this. It is easy to fall into illusion, to believe no one will find out or that it is not that serious. But these obvious and impulsive choices are the ones that cause the greatest damage, both financially and personally. Protecting your relationship is protecting your wealth. The two walk together. 14th thing, play it safe. There is no need to take risks. You are in a rare position. Like it or not, you received a chance that almost no one gets. The chance to guarantee security for yourself and your family for many years, maybe for the rest of your life. But that only happens if you play it safe. And playing it safe means the obvious. Do not put your money into questionable businesses. Do not try to double your wealth quickly. Do not challenge fate itself. You already won once. You do not need to prove anything to anyone. The safest path is simple. Be grateful for what happened and be prudent. Do not turn this money into adrenaline. Do not make it a roller coaster. The best attitude is to live as if this event had not happened, as if the only thing that changed was the end of your debts and financial stress. Keep living your life at your own pace, without excesses and without risky moves, just because now you can. If you do this, you will be fine. The money will grow slowly. It will generate returns. It will protect you, as long as you do not abuse it. And as a bonus, the 15th thing, the law of averages is always at work. When luck hits you hard, this is exactly when you need to double your attention. A life does not stay at one extreme for very long. The pendulum always swings back. That is how the law of averages works. Nothing stays completely unbalanced forever. Something very out of the ordinary happened to you, and the natural path is that at some point everything moves back toward the center. Or in other words, everything seeks balance. And this word needs to stay in your mind. Balance. That is what will keep you safe. That is what prevents excess, recklessness, euphoria, and decisions that destroy wealth. As long as you maintain balance in your life, emotionally, financially, and personally, you will be fine. Well, I finally finished this. It really took a lot of work to do, so at least leave a like, and if you stayed until the end, comment on the way to 1,000 subscribers. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you want to change the way you deal with money in practice and learn the best method for financial freedom, the ebook link is in the description with a 60% discount for a limited time. I'll leave it here and see you next time.